Hello everybody! I don't know what to do with my hands, so we are doing a drum solo to this marchy music. It feels very epic, very let's get going. And I think I need that because I am very tired today. I'm sure you can... Well, you can't really... I'm sure you can feel it. I was about to say I'm sure you can see it, but... hopefully not. But that is the reason why we started like 50 minutes later than we were supposed to, because, well, I might have napped a bit longer than I meant to earlier today. But it is what it is. It's a new week. It's a new month. Welcome to September, everybody. I hope you have a nice day. Right. Before we start, I have something I want to show you. Pachow! Look, it's the title page. It is beautiful. It is not just the same old, just, you know, pencil crap that we had before. Now it actually matches our others. Where do we have fly? We have fly. Fly here. It matches. Let's go. Yes, I spent my Friday evening on that, and it was actually quite nice. Just sitting there, coloring, basically. So we got that going for us, which is nice. I didn't do the illuminated letter yet because it was like 1 o'clock in the night, and I had to go somewhere Saturday. Which incidentally is also why I'm tired today, because I had a great night out, and when you're old like me, you know, you take multiple days to recover from fun stuff like a night out. Anyway, let's get going, shall we? Where are we in the story? Should we go here? Should we go to our story circle? So right now we are in the go stage of the story circle. Let's bring up... maybe I should just have this image actually, like here. Yeah, that's better. We are here in the go stage. We started you, we went on to need. We start with you establishing our protagonist, establishing Carl and his spirit-bound Gwilfane, and establishing the comfort zone of the Realm Oak and life at the Realm Oak. Even though it's a bit shit, he feels like that's where all Fae Folk belong. They don't leave the realm trees. We went over to the need. What does he need? Carl, he needs a new life. He has been horrendously in love with a woman that he has known since childhood. Unreciprocated love, of course. She has been married. And not only that, but he will not be a druid because of politics within the leading... The elder druids, and you know, druids are like the Fae Folk society. Druids are the cultural leaders and not just the religious leaders. So we are now at the go. He is crossing the threshold. The character enters an unfamiliar situation for the first time in like forever. Carl and Gwilfane are alone. They are totally on their own, away from the comfortable life that they used to live. And yes, not totally, because their good friend Dan Blue and his Crayroon, his spirit-bound Crayroon, his spirit-bound Moose, told them about these shelters that the Ironbarks use. And so, that have provisions and everything. And Carl and Gwilfane are now at the very end of one. They are in the unfamiliar situation of the very last shelter before the end of like the Fae Folk's forest. Now I was like, I should probably have some sort of what would you say, name for that forest. And I was like, I can come up with that until next time. But I didn't. So we might want to start thinking about the name for the forest and not just the forest of the Realm Oak. Maybe the Realm Oak needs a name itself. That could be. It's actually not a bad idea, because then that would sort of create the name for his forest as well, right? So we might want to do that, and then we might want to, once we digitize it, instead of say the Realm Oak, the Realm Oak, the Realm Oak, the Realm Oak, we would just start using the Realm Oak's name. Yes, but it's raining, it's pouring down, and as he attempts to make a fire because he had let the old one go out, Sanawinth enters the story. Sanawinth, his unreciprocated love, who was married. And Carl never attended her wedding because he just couldn't handle it, and he was like, I need to remove myself from the situation and walk away from the Realm Oak. So that's basically where we left off Monday. So yeah, let's have a little read, shall we? Just from where Sanawinth entered. So while Carl was trying to create fire in the pouring rain, he was attacked. Not really attacked, but he was attacked by Aigden, Sanawinth's spiritbound, who is a flit gecko. So he's a lizard, right? Aigden, Carl burst forth with a relieved voice. What are you doing here? And if you're here, where's... It's a good thing tears never show in the pouring rain. A woman's voice sounded from somewhere behind the lizard spiritbound. Carl immediately sat up, somehow managing to push Aiden's large, white, scaly body enough to the side. Sana was the only thing Carl managed to say as his heart sunk. I'm not sure that you can still call me that. What did I try to do there? Oh. The Fae said, looking Carl deep into his eyes. Sanawinth might be small and slender in comparison to the average Fae Folk, but right now, the scout stood towering over Carl. She had lowered the cowl of a dark green cloak, revealing the, at least to Carl, most beautiful Faean face. Even though she was scowling, Carl could still imagine her wonderfully large smile and her long pointy ears wiggle when she would. When she would? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. When she walked? Could still imagine her wonderfully large smile and her long pointy ears. She would laugh, I think. I think it's laugh. So let's put that in there. Yo, El Cuervo, welcome. Stop it. How's it going, you ask? Well, I just started. So we're just sort of reading. I haven't touched this story since Wednesday last week, so it's pretty much we're just reading where we left off, so we can get right back into it. Welcome to the stream. And yeah, then I just stumbled upon this little where I apparently forgot a word last time, and I didn't know what I was supposed to say. So now it's live. Carl could still imagine her wonderfully large smile and her long pointy ears wiggle when she would laugh. But the flared nostrils of Sanawin's longer nose, combined with her frowning bushy dark eyebrows, quickly got him back from his frequent daydream. Oh yeah, last time we were like, have we over-described Sanawin? Because this paragraph, these 3 paragraphs have a lot of descriptions in there. You can't see, I was like, these three paragraphs. I cannot believe this is where we would find you two, Sanawin went on. Without the dry protection of a scout's cloak, her long blonde hair had already started to soak in the water, mercilessly falling from the sky. Even the bird feathers, the ones she found around the forest and decorated her hair with, had started to become misty. Carl had always loved how she would try to echo Egden's white and pink feathery appendages, but whenever he had asked about the feathers, both she and her spirit-bound had looked at him with confusion. The look in Sanawin's dirt brown eyes right now, though, left little to no confusion. She was mad. Carl wished her reaction would have been slightly more like that of her spirit-bound, even if he for a moment thought that he was actually getting attacked. Gwilfane had finally gotten up and joined them. His walk was slow and low to the ground, his eyes sad and apologetic as he approached the newly arrived Ironbark scout. "Don't worry, Gwyl," Sanawin said to the wolf with a totally changed demeanor. "I'm not mad at you in the slightest." That was all it took for Gwilfane. His yellow eyes... Wow. Why do I... There's so many missing words. His yellow eyes lit up, and he started running around Sanawin, occasionally jumping up and licking her face. "I missed you so much as well," Sanawin expressed, trying to be grateful to be on the receiving end of the spirit-bound's overjoyed love. "I cannot believe how long... It's probably how long, right? That would make sense. How long? How long it's been since I've had your kisses. Ah. Okay, we're back into it. Straight to the point, basically. It does really work well, the leaving on a in the middle of a word, because you're just back into it so much faster, I think. So, El Cuervo, how's your book coming along? Got any further with chapter 2? Got my water in my average size mug. So what here is... Okay, so this is of course the idea behind this conversation is to get some drama, right? So far it has been mostly drama. It's not been a whole lot of action. We had a little action here, with Carl thinking that he got attacked by something. It wasn't really action. And now we want some drama with this here. We want Sanawinth to accuse or ask Carl why they weren't at her wedding. They weren't with her when she needed him. She thought they were friends, and we want Carl to, I guess, openly admit his feelings for her, and also say like, I know we wouldn't work, or we're not gonna be together. So we want Sanawinth to be like very angry, accusatory, Carl being very apologetic. El Cuervo says, yeah, I'm halfway through it. Also added a character after reading Vale Inclan last week. What's that? Vale Inclan. That sounds interesting. And nice. I love that. I love when we get inspiration, right? From, like, that's why it's so important to read. I'm terrible myself at sitting down and reading, even though I want to. And because I think there's so much to learn from every book. But yeah, I if the weather is all right tomorrow here in Denmark, I'm gonna go to my local library for the first time in, like, to actually write a book for the first, not write a book, to read a book for the first time in 20 years or something like that, if that's even 25 years maybe, to borrow a fantasy book. I'm actually a little bit excited about that, because I don't, like I said, it's been so long since I've been to the library to borrow a book. I usually been there to read or to write. That's what I meant. It's a Galician writer who got his arm chopped off in a cafeteria and had a long ass Gandalf beard. Okay. Nice. That sounds very interesting. What a life. He sounds very eccentric. I mean, if you have a long ass Gandalf beard. But I'm guessing it was a good book, since his writing inspired you for a character. Okay, yeah, like I said, going back to my stuff here. We want this conversation. We don't want it to be the longest conversation in the world. Definitely not as long as the conversation with Dandru, which was almost like 15 pages or something. At least 10 written pages. But we wanted to end with Sanawinth being understanding. And we also want there to be some sort of, like, something I've come up with since Wednesday. I want there to be some sort of conflict between humans and Fae Folk that we want to allude to. We don't want to have explicit, like, say it explicitly is happening, but we want to allude to that there's a conflict between, like this, the humans are encroaching on the forest basically, and we want Sanawind to like don't go in that direction. The humans are in that direction. They suck, basically, and Carl will be like, oh, maybe we should go there anyway to see what's up. Iquero asks, by the way, I'm kind of off from this. Why did he run off from the wedding? So, he didn't run off from the wedding. He never went there. So Sanawind is now married to another person. And that's the wedding that Carl, of course, was invited to because they were childhood friends, but he didn't attend because, like, he's just too brokenhearted from not being the one that Sanawind chose. And Sanawind, of course, wanted him there, since they had been friends forever, basically. So Carl was being a real dick about it. Didn't say anything, just didn't show up. And then after that, his mentor, Weaklin, went into the amber sleep, and then Carl left the realm oak for good. So he didn't even say goodbye to Sanawind. But yeah, Carl has basically been in love with Sana for his entire life, and it was not reciprocated, and he has had a lot of trouble getting over that. He basically hasn't gotten over that, and it was one of the reasons why he left the realm oak. That's the plot, sort of. Okay, so I want Carl to say something here. Should probably just say I'm sorry. And he won't call her Sana. She just said she wasn't sure that he'd get to call her that. Sorry, Carl. Carl said, barely loud enough. Barely loud enough. I want it to be so quiet that the rain almost drowns it out. How do we describe that? I'm so tired today. This might not be the longest stream I've ever done. Just as a bit of a warning, I guess. Wow, I really need to pick myself up somehow. Say it barely loud enough. I don't know if this is gonna make sense, but set it barely loud enough for the rain to not drown out his words. To not drown out his words. It's a bit of a double negative, isn't it? I think it's alright. Sun and wind. Oops. Sun and wind still managed to hear it though. Even with Gwylfain's excitement still high. No, that we have still already. Even with Gwylfain's excitement, not excited. Excitement. Still managed to hear it though, even with Gwylfain's excitement. Not slowing down, no. Rising. We don't want too convoluted. We don't want two convoluted sentences right after each other. Rising. I really want to write still, but I just used it there. You know, I'm going to delete this still and then write it here. Yeah. Let's go. So now, we want Sanawin to say like, where were you at my wedding? We haven't spoken in over a year. We almost haven't spoken in over a year, and the one time I thought you would be happy for me, something like that, you weren't there, right? And I have to hear it from your parents or from Dantlu or something. Probably Dantlu. Yeah. I can't believe you. She said and turned to Carl. Her face back to anger. As she stood up, Gwilfane jumped at Aigden. And they both started running around the shelter. Sana Wind stood up. Gwilfane jumped at her, spirit bound. And Aigden wasn't slow to take up the challenge. Wasn't slow to take up the challenge. The two started running around, started darting around. Darting. Started darting around. Wow, we are almost out. Good thing I looked up at my at the screen. We were almost out of space to write on the screen. Started darting around the shelter. Rainwater splashing everywhere. Rainwater splashing everywhere. You were supposed to be there. I don't think it would make a whole lot of sense to be explicit here, because these two characters would of course already know clear as day what she's talking about, right? It is him not being there for her wedding. Maybe we need to say it. What's the other word? What's the opposite of explicitly? Explicitly? I don't actually know. Explicit. Antonym. I don't feel like these inaccurately, indefinitely, surely, doubtfully, dubiously, vaguely is probably the word we're going for. Expressly. Explicitly. Implicitly. Isn't that the word I'm looking for? Implicit. Implicit. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is implicit. We would want, or we would go for. Oops, that was the wrong one. He was supposed to be there. How could you even consider not going? How could you even maybe not consider? Think about not going. Carl could hear her. No. So we want to have like a little bit of a call, not a call back, because Sanawin's, of course, her first line is a good thing. Tears never show in the pouring rain. So we want to have that as a little bit of a, yeah, we want to say like, the rain might disguise her tears, but Cal could definitely hear it in her voice. So yeah, that's actually pretty good. The rain might have disguised her tears. But Cal could hear it in her voice now. Once again, I apparently don't write all the words that I say I'm writing. Strange. It's so freaking weird. As she walked to him, as she walked over to him and lightly punched his shoulder. And pushed him on his shoulder. He didn't really know what to say. So instead, he just looked at her. So instead, he just stared at her. Oh. So instead, he just stared at her. Stared. Carl had thought about this moment many times. This moment many times. I wanted to. I was just like, maybe we should have it be like. Carl had thought about this moment many times, but and he never thought it would actually happen. But now that his childhood friend was here in front of him, his mouth was frozen. Something like that, but not, not shit. How to say that? But the further away the further away he and Wilfane had gotten from the realm oak, from the realm oak. the more he had convinced himself, he had convinced himself he would never not never, because he does plan on coming back. Yeah. So let's say that he wouldn't see his childhood friend. His childhood at least not until they would be back. But Carl wasn't sure when that was gonna be. When that was gonna be. And then we say like, but all the things he had imagined himself saying, not seeing, imagine himself saying, were nowhere in his mind right now. Were hiding from his thoughts. I kind of like that. So yeah, how would we phrase that? But all those things he had imagined telling Sana. I think we want to say Sana here because that's so we sort of this paragraph is sort of in the mind of Carl, right? And in his mind he would still refer to her as Sana and not Sana Winth. All the things he had imagined telling Sana. I don't think this needs a comma here, actually. But all those things he had imagined telling Sana. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I'm so tired today. Oh, tis not good. We're now hiding from his own thoughts. Don't you have anything to say for yourself? Sanawinth basically shouted. Almost shouted. Almost shouted. Nope. Does my happiness mean so little to you? We want Carl here to be like stuttering, trying to find the words, right? I'm terribly sorry. Or maybe he say like, maybe he like repeats Sanawinth like saying your happiness, like almost as he's confused, but he's not confused though. He's just being confronted, right? Have we written 20 pages right now? Wasn't it 85 we started on? Okay, 20 pages. And how long was Fly? Fly was 34. Danger was 27. I keep thinking, so I wrote Calamity, and I was like, okay, 20 pages, wow, this is a good length for a short story. Then I wrote Danger, and that was 27. I was like, okay, cool, this is probably going to be one of the longest ones. Then I wrote Fly, which turned out to be even longer, 34 pages. Well, this is handwritten pages, right? And again, I was like, okay, that was I wouldn't say it was too long, but it was much, much longer than I had expected. I had expected Fly to be done in like the same amount of pages as Calamity. But I just sort of kept on writing. And now I was like, well, this one is definitely not going to be as long as Fly. But it might get to be even longer, to be honest. If we're on page 20 now, and we need to finish this confrontation with Sanawind, and then wrap up the story with the end. That's definitely something that can... I think I can definitely be 15 more pages. At least. This is so weird. It's so strange. But you know, sometimes creativity is just... of course I enjoy it. That's what I enjoy most about this writing here. Like when you get into this flow state, I've talked about it before, but when you get into a flow state of just what they're saying, how you describe things, it just sort of comes. Like that's just such an amazing feeling when it's really, really going. Story length. Yeah. And I can definitely feel that I'm struggling to find that today. But we'll see. We'll go for like an hour and check in on how my brain is doing then. Does my happiness mean so little to you? I don't... I didn't... You didn't what? Care? Care? Oops. Just a single. Sanawind gave him another push. Carl, another push on his shoulder. Which he just accepted. Just accepted. 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 Dot. Of course I cared. Carl finally managed to speak a sentence. Does that make sense? To speak a sentence? does now. Just blowing on the ink to dry it up. Because that was page 105 done. Means we are moving on to 106. 106. Let's go. I'm just putting this here to, you know, to sort of have it so a little bit more is going on, to have a pop of color on the screen, right? That's why you're going to see me, you're seeing me taking this all the time. It's just to, well, it's a little bit of fidgeting, right? I should really get a new fidget spinner. Those things were awesome. You know what hurt me the most, though? That you then had the gall. Nope. To leave without saying goodbye. Sana wins. Sana wins. Voice was cracking. It's cracking now. Cracking job, Gromit. And her push barely accomplished anything. Barely accomplished. Accomplished anything. We've barely spoke. Oh. No, barely spoken for a year. And this and that was how you lived things. How you left things. And that was how you left things. Should we have like, thank you for showing me how much I mean to you? Does that even make sense in this context? Yes, I know these noises that I make are very good entertainment. I can imagine. Or do we just enter a sentence there? Actually, while I think about that, I'm just going to think that might be around 5 minutes ago. Fiddling. You might as well see it. Fiddling with the... I just realized I could make a Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference with ink cap. Ink pen. Plus Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Nine-Nine! Reference. And that was how you left things. I'm really not sure of this whole conversation right now. I feel like I might be jumbling things around so they could make more sense in another order. But I mean, that's what we have the revision, the digital version, digitizing for. So maybe we should just crack on. Also, I forgot another word up there. Because apparently that's what we do now. We just don't write words in the middle of sentences. I just spit on my book. We had barely spoken for a year, and that was how you left things. I can't believe you. I honestly can't believe you. And I can't believe that I thought I mattered. I matter to you. Let's just have a look at Sanawin's character. So they have, of course, almost been inseparable. Carl, who has the wrong name here, was always following her around. They did everything together. Getting into trouble, both of each other company. Was all there was to it. So yeah, there's a big motivational change for her. She was sort of selfish, didn't care about anyone else but her and Egden, her spirit bound. Until Carl professed his love for her. At which point she realized that she wasn't able to reciprocate the feelings. Can't believe I thought I mattered to you. I matter to you. You do matter. Of course you do. Cal tried to defend himself. And I had to hear it. Had to hear. Oh. That didn't look like here. Hear it from Dandlu. Konstant løber en Krayroom. Krayroom. Who you also try to sneak away from. Sneak away from. Is that true? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? By the way is better. By the way. By the way. At first I didn't believe him. Didn't believe them. At first I didn't believe them. I didn't believe them. A comment. At first I didn't believe them, but seeing how you treated me, seeing how you treated me, have treated me and Egden. I quickly realized it was true. Quickly. It was true. Yeah, that's better. Sana wins. Sana wins sniffling. Made it hard. It's hard. Made it hard to hear her now. Yeah, so we want Carl to. This has sort of been the initial barrage of accusations, right? So we want Carl to defend himself and his actions, and we want him to slowly start going into the actual reasons, like to him to slowly. We don't want him to just burst out with "I love you and I can't have you," so that's why I didn't. That's why I left. But that's sort of where we're going, right? Yeah. Oh, just realized I never put a link in the chat. Oh well. Oh wells. Okay, so up here we did say you do matter. Also, I know that we need to... I can't have an entire conversation about Carl being confronted by his unhappy love and not say the name of the guy she married, right? I still haven't figured that out, and I don't know when it'll come up in the conversation, but it would be weird if it didn't, I feel like. Either from her or from him. So I think we're just gonna keep going until it comes up naturally, and then we figure out a name for him. And probably also his spirit bound, even though they won't actually appear in the story. Yeah. Because if there's one thing I've learned, like, I guess I have a little bit of world builder's disease. At least I've experienced it. I think I mentioned it a couple of times. Definitely mentioned it in my introductory video that I started up this universe, this fantasy universe, this fantasy world with ideas in 2014, and I just kept writing down thoughts and this could be a cool theme and ideas for stuff without actually creating anything. And that's textbook definition, I think, for world builder's disease. If you want to make stories, which I do, there sort of comes a point where you're just like, I can't go on with this, I need to do something. And I think I've learned that over the last, well, now this is a fourth short story, right? That if you have like a base lore, a really good solid base for like the characters and culture and stuff, then you don't have to figure out stuff. First of all, you don't have to figure out stuff that you're not going to mention in the story. That can come later in another story or when you're expanding on whatever we're doing. And secondly, I actually I like to mix it up, like, so I obviously make a lot of background lore before starting, but then it's cool to have like, okay, now something naturally came up because that's the way the story evolved. So now we need to come up with new stuff to really underline what's going on, or in this case, the name of Sanawin's husband. Because I didn't think that he would be needed, so I didn't make his name. But now, as I progressing the story, I can definitely feel, okay, he needs to have a name at some point. It doesn't make any sense to have this conversation and having him remain nameless. It just doesn't. So yeah, that's World Builder's Disease. It can suck, but as long as you learn from it, World Builders, and figure out how you want to write and do stuff, and what works for you. Because I'm sure what works for me doesn't work for everyone else. World Builders Disease. But on the other hand, plus story evolving. But on the other hand, if that's what you want to do, build a huge world, do it without necessarily telling a story. Have like sort of like Elden Ring, which is not one story, right? It's a lot of, I'm sure, okay, I haven't played Elden Ring. I've watched Day9 play some of it, and it looks great. But one of the things that I thought was really catchy about Elden Ring is the whole, there's a story over here that's clearly a battlefield with ghosts, and then over here there's a big dragon that doesn't actually have anything to do with these ghosts over here, so it's not one coherent story. It's lots of cool stories scattered around this amazing world, this grotesque world. I just found that to be really awesome, actually. And that made the world seem more living than it maybe had any right to be. I'm just gonna note that down. Elden Ring. And I know there's a term for that, but I can't remember what it is. I know this term. Okay, that's going to annoy me all night if I don't look it up. Elden Ring story type. Does that make sense, Google? Well, demigods failing. So yeah, fragmented, non-linear narrative structure told through environmental storytelling, item descriptions. Yes, but there's a term for that. Fragmented, non-linear story. I feel like it's a very, very good It's a very good and simple word for that, but I just don't know what it is. Equero says, I think I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I'm getting my point across, but I know there's a word for it, and it's going to annoy me until at like 3 in the night, I wake up, sit up in my bed, and I'm like, I know what it is now, Okay, back to the story. You do matter. Carl repeated. It's just what? Sana Wind. Wiped her nose on her cloak. At the same time, Gwilfane started to howl. Aiden had climbed up a tree. Up a tree where the wolf couldn't follow. Olcuervo says opera choral. Is that what it's called when it's... That wasn't the term I was thinking about. Opera choral translates from Spanish to choral work or choral art. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't the term I was thinking of, but it actually sounds really cool. Sounds like a cool phrase. Oops. So, I mentioned last time that Aiden is the flit gecko that hatches in Fly. But he is not native to the fauna of where the realm, the Fae Folk here, where the realm is. So they just know him. They just know he's a lizard. They don't actually know what type of lizard he is. So that's why I keep saying lizard and not gecko or flit gecko, because it's far away. Flit geckos are far away. He's like one of the kind. He's like the only kind there is around these parts. When the lizard got to the top, and also the fact that I'm writing this, I know this is actually, I mean, it's one thing is to, I know it doesn't have much to do with the drama that's going on, the conversation between the two of them, right? But I feel like it's a nice little break from it's nice, just tiny small break from the drama, which also shows a bit more like what's going on, I guess you could say, right? Like it's sort of, it's a little bit to say that the world around is still active. Something is happening around them, even though they're so entrenched in this argument. Is that too far-fetched? I don't know. But it's my reasoning, at least. Not it. Was Egden a she? Okay, I think Egden is a he. My biggest problem, and I've sort of I've been thinking a little bit about it. Also the other weeks when we've been writing. All the spirit bounds are male so far. Near here, Wilfane, Egden, and what was the bear called? Journeys bear, Griff. I believe they're all male. For some reason. One of them probably needs to be female. And I'm thinking Near here would be a good candidate for that. There's something about a wise female, an old wise woman, right? And Near here could be like a stand-in for that. I know Near here is an owl. I'm gonna jot that down. 0138. All male spirit bounds. Got to the top. He jumped. Jumped away, not away, and spread his wings. His stomach wings. This is, I guess, this is sort of also where we allude to. That this is the same, this is Flit, as Vurusu named him. And glided over them. Wilfane happily. Get up to. I just need to look something up in the dictionary. Cannot. Oh no. Resumed. Thank you. Happily resume the chase, even if the rain made it hard for him to look up. For him to look up. Yoink. And there we go. Resume the chase. Resumed chase. Okay, so now we want Carl to start opening up. I do have a little what's it called? I'm a little worried. I do have a little worry that this here conversation is very much like Calamity. That also features a this is a lover's pair, a pair of lovers, a pair of husband and wife. But it does feature an angry wife and an apologetic husband. And like I said, of course, this is unreciprocated love. And we're definitely not going to make a whole story about this fight. But I can't help but wonder if I'm repeating myself, actually. And how much I'm repeating myself. I guess we'll never know. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, but I'm so terribly tired still. Because it's a little bit of the same argument. Or at least... So the argument in Calamity is that Tuvehan is leaving his wife because he's been what's it called? He's changed his religion and he's found a new calling. And he also has like he couldn't tell her things. And he has a little bit like the same... Like she tells him, don't call me your pet name, Sana. I'm not sure you are allowed to call me Sana. I just couldn't send her another pleading look. I just couldn't. I mean, it is a little bit of the same... It's a little bit of the same themes, I guess. So maybe it's alright. It's just like, I'm worried that this is just a repeat of something I've already written. And I need to... I need to be aware of that. So, how do we do that? Oof, that's a problem for a brain that is much more energetic than mine is right now. Okay, so we don't want him to be stalling too much. I think we just maybe he just have an outburst now. Because I really want to avoid. I just couldn't. Because then I feel like this is just. Then I feel like it's just the same conversation as I wrote in Calamity. God. Okay, I think he's just going to repeat "you do matter" again. You do matter, Sanarinth. He's gonna call her Sana here. Okay. He's gonna sort of suddenly everything. Let's have a callback to the what we just wrote here with all of the things he had imagined telling her. Let's sort of just get that out now, maybe. All of those things. He had imagined. he would say, but had eluded him. He had imagined he would say, but so far, makes more sense, so far had eluded him. Came rushing out. You matter more to me than anyone. Oops. I'm sorry, but you do. But you do. Maybe if you had like, so since Carl is quite religious, maybe if you had like an it's called an allegory to the Amber Father and the Umber Mother here. Because the story with that is I wrote it down somewhere, but I think it's, let's see if I can remember it. I think it was the Umber Mother fell ill to the blight, and so the Amber Father traveled through the trees, through the realm trees, and into the Amber Sleep to get her out, and took her place there. So she would continue her life, and you know, he would die basically. So if you could have Cal say something to that, might not be the worst. Might not be the worst to end this session on. Because it also shows like how religious Carl is. How do we say it so it makes sense? That's a problem. Because it doesn't sound very natural to say like I would mimic the Amber Father and drag you out from the Amber Sleep. Maybe say if I had to. I would go into the Amber Sleep. I would travel to the Amber Sleep and take your place. Take your place there. Just like the Amber Father did. And that's why Carl ended his sentence. Rather abruptly. Actually, not 3 dots, but a hyphen. Rather abruptly. I don't know if I want to. If instead of having Sanawin say why, if we have her say, "You wouldn't go to my wedding because." You wouldn't go to my wedding because I wasn't dead. And also, should wedding be called like union to have a little bit more variety in the language used? I'm gonna say wedding first. Because I wasn't dead. And then we're gonna say here, let's see, union. Sanawinth. Oof, that's a bad end. Sounded more confused than Carl had hoped. It's a full stop there. No, you No you. It's why I couldn't go. I'm still in love with you. Sana. I always have been. So this would be a exclamation mark. That doesn't look like an exclamation mark. Oh my god. There we go. I think that you know. I think that you... Boom. It's been 2 hours, guys. I'm still too tired, so we're gonna leave the drama. We're gonna leave in the middle of the drama, in the middle of his confession of love, and then tomorrow we'll continue it. And I hope to be much more well rested tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you'll stop by one of the days in this week, tomorrow or Wednesday. We will continue the story, and hopefully we will end this conversation with Sanawin. Maybe even tomorrow. I feel like, I know my head has been tired, but I feel like we got we opened the can of worms, and now we just need to describe how we're closing that can. Okay. Yes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to like it, maybe even subscribe to my channel. And yeah, remember that we write our own stories. Bye.